What is up, everybody? XCal coming back at y'all with another video. If y'all are new to this channel or new to this these type of videos, I basically smoke cannabis and talk about real life events. I talk about personal things, life stories, all kinds of stuff like that. And I'm gonna be uploading a new series on the UFC because the UFC is something I've been interested in for a very, very, very long time. And I'm going to start this series off right, and I'm going to be making a video. So will Conor McGregor ever fight again? All right, so right now it is July of 2020, and Conor McGregor is basically retired. He released a couple weeks ago that he was retired and that he's not going to be fighting again and all types of stuff. And all my friends are into the UFC, and a lot of people know I know what I'm talking about for the most part. So they asked me, is Conor ever going to fight again? Is Conor ever going to fight again? So today I'm going to be explaining why he is or isn't going to fight again, and where will he be fighting, who will he be fighting, things like that. So without further ado, I'm going to get this started. Make sure if you got one rolled up, time to spark it up. First things first, do I think Conor McGregor will ever fight again? Sorry, it's the 4th of July or damn near, and there's hella fireworks going off in my neighborhood. So if you hear banging every 10 seconds, no, this is not World War III. This is 4th of July in America. So, yeah, exactly my point. So, will Conor McGregor ever fight again? I believe yes, he will. And does he need to? Absolutely not. After he fought Floyd, he could have easily retired. But what he wanted to do was go into the UFC, and he wanted to beat Khabib and, you know, continue his reign. The hell was that thing? Oh, it was my cat. He wants to continue his reign at the top. See, when you're Conor McGregor and you went from being on the top of the UFC, a double weight class world champion, to fighting Floyd Mayweather and losing, he wanted, in his mind, it would have been best for him to win that fight against Khabib and then be the lightweight champion again, therefore still being at the top. However, that didn't work out. Because of a huge, you know, him not taking his camp seriously and a bunch of other excuses and reasons, he lost to Khabib. Do I think he'll fight Khabib again? I really, really, really hope so. And as a fan of the UFC, that is the fight that I want to see Conor fight next. I want to see him versus Khabib. Here's why. So the most recent time that Khabib has fought was Dustin Poirier. He mauled Dustin Poirier, but that's not a surprise because Dustin is not the best on the ground. You know, although he might have a black belt in jiu-jitsu and, you know, decent wrestler, he's not Khabib level wrestling. Justin Gaethje is a much better matchup for Khabib to lose than Dustin Poirier. I just want to say, Conor McGregor's been like one of my favorite fighters since, pretty much since I saw him. Since the Chad Mendes fight is whenever I became a fan of Conor McGregor. And I'm not going to cap and I'm not going to bandwagon or whatever, but that was the first fight that I was like, all right, I see you, Conor. Like, you are a warrior. He was crying after he won, and I just saw the heart and the fight in this guy. However, that doesn't really relate to this video, so I'm going to keep talking about it. And the next thing I wanted to talk about was, you know, does Conor need to fight again? Like I said, not at all. The dude is rich. The dude, you know, doesn't care about $1 or $2 million for fighting in the UFC, because that's probably what he makes. Probably, who knows, way more. He could make way more than that, like 20, 30 million, but I've never heard of a UFC fighter making 20, 30 million for one fight. Like, I've never heard of that. Then again, like, not everything is released to us. So if there's things that I don't know, then of course, correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of things I've been seeing in the media. Jorge Masvidal versus Conor McGregor. I think that'd be a good fight. I think that's exactly what Conor should look for. He should look for somebody that's going to want to stand there, thinks they're better at striking than him, and then knock them out like he did with Donald Cerrone. I truthfully to God, hope that Conor fights somebody who is a exquisite or great striker before Khabib, because Conor, I feel as if could beat Khabib. All it will take is his perfect precision, his perfect timing. Everything needs to be perfect and aligned. And I truthfully think Khabib will not take this fight because of the backlash and because of all the personal things that are being said. And look at what happened after the last fight. There was a literal riot. Conor got stuck, Khabib got stuck. Some random people got punched, and Khabib probably really doesn't want to repeat that situation. Anybody in their right mind would be nervous or scared whenever you got a whole mob of people trying to come after you. So in my mind, I think Khabib doesn't want to fight Conor again. Although, why wouldn't you? Like, if you're Khabib, you're undefeated, you already beat him one time. In your own head, you can just do the same thing you did the first time. You can just maul him and wrestle him to the ground. So that's why I'm not sure why Khabib isn't fighting Conor. I really wish he would, but Khabib's manager wants Conor to fight more. He wants him to stay active. He wants him to do all that stuff. Just like Conor said to Khabib back in, 2017, 2016, whenever he was like, if you want to fight me, then you're going to have to fight more people. So Khabib, which, if you think about Khabib's run in the UFC, his top two impressive victories have been Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor, both very skilled strikers. Khabib, in my eyes, has never necessarily been tested. That's why I wanted to see him fight Tony Ferguson, because Tony Ferguson's so crafty on the ground, he can put you in a submission from any point. So that's why I wanted that fight to happen. I think, whether it's God or fate is protecting Khabib from fighting Tony Ferguson, but now he doesn't have to worry anymore because Tony lost. So therefore, Dustin Poirier is going to be the next fight for Khabib. And, that's a really good fight. I'm excited for that. But at the same time, I really want to see Tony Ferguson versus Khabib or Conor McGregor versus Khabib. And both those opponents want to fight Khabib. So, why not make that fight? Tony Ferguson versus Conor McGregor. Conor's probably going to jump on that fight because Tony just got beat for the first time in however long. And, Conor wants to hop on Tony while he's down, while he's weak. Now is the best time for Conor to fight Tony Ferguson. Justin Gaethje, on the other hand, I would not want to fight Justin Gaethje right now. He is absolutely running through people, and he does not give a shit whether you knock him out or he gets knocked out. So I'd be careful, when fighting Justin Gaethje. But Tony Ferguson looked a little bit off in the last fight, so therefore I could see Conor trying to hop in, fight Tony Ferguson, become the number one contender against Justin and Khabib. That fight, I'm so excited for. It hasn't even really been announced yet, which I don't even get. I think Khabib's still trying to run, but there's nothing he can do. I'm not a Khabib hater. Obviously Khabib's 28-0, undefeated, undisputed. Khabib is a beast. There's no denying it. However, everybody with that 0, I want to see them lose. I want to see who is better than them. Of course you have Israel Adesanya, also undefeated in the UFC. I don't think people are going to beat that dude, not at least in that weight class. He beat the top 5 guys in that weight class, the top 5 intimidating, the top 5 biggest, top 5 scariest. So I think in order for Israel to be beaten, he's going to have to step out of his weight class and fight above his weight class. We all saw that hints of the Jon Jones fight and whatnot, and I really don't think that will happen. I hope Jon Jones comes back soon. I love Jon Jones. He's been one of the first fighters I've watched throughout my generation. Jon Bones Jones, he's been taking over the game for a very, very, very long time. Never gets the credit he deserves, though. Why would Dana not sign a fight with him and Francis Ngannou? Maybe Jon Jones' pay-per-view numbers aren't as high as you want them to be, but that fight could be like, people would literally pay to see that just to see Jon Jones lose or see him literally define reality and win. So it's like either way, it's a win-win situation making that fight. Francis Ngannou gets to face a smaller guy. John Jones gets to face a bigger, stronger guy, somebody that is a challenge for him, something that he wants. You know, you hear John Jones saying, "I don't care about my record. You know, I want to actually try in there." And that's what the biggest thing that I consistently see with John Jones is he stops trying. He looks like he doesn't give a fuck about the fight, and he doesn't give a fuck about that fight at that time. Part of me always thinks John Jones just, you know, he just kind of gets picked. Hey, go fight this guy. Apparently he's going to beat you. John Jones at this point is like, yeah, we'll see about that. And unless it's somebody that stands out to Jones, you know, like, you know, Thiago Santos or Thiago Santos, he really he damn near beat John Jones. However, you just can't take away a fighter's zero like that with that close of a decision. You know, that wouldn't even be worth it. If you want to take away John Jones' zero, you need to knock him out cold and you need to finish him. That's the only way that zero is going anywhere. I don't see them, you know, not giving John Jones a decision if it ever comes down to it with a lot of fighters. Just like Floyd, you know, Floyd was undefeated and there was a lot of fights that were very questionable and close fights. But they always gave it to Floyd because, you know, you're not going to ruin someone's entire career by a terrible judging system. You're just going to be safe, give it to the guy that's undefeated, and the other guy just kind of gets screwed over. That's, you know, I've seen that in the fight game for a while. But yeah, guys, who do you guys want to see Conor McGregor face? You know, Conor McGregor is such a hot topic at all times. You know, when I get on Snapchat, I always see Conor McGregor. When I get on Instagram, I always see Conor McGregor. You know, he's a star, man. He's I believe he is the most recognizable athlete at this point, you know. Of course, like, MMA is not necessarily like giant, bigger than other sports all around the world, but you know, everybody knows who Conor McGregor is. We've all seen the memes, we've seen the tweets, we've seen the YouTube videos, we've seen the fights. So we know, you know, Conor the Notorious, man. And you can't help but love the guy, but you can't help but hate him. You know, I don't blame people if they don't like Conor, but, you know, obviously I've got the dude's back. Every time that Conor fights, you best believe that I'm going to have his back. And I'm going to 100% root for him. And that's just because I told myself as soon as I saw this kid, I was like, wow, like, that dude is different. And then, you know, through thick and thin, I've bet money, I've lost money on him, I've won money on him. I'm always going to pick Conor McGregor in the end just because, I don't know, I'm a little biased towards the opinion because I do love his charisma. I love his ability to attract you and to make you want to like him. You know, he's that guy that's very likable. And, you know, personally, I try to be that way myself sometimes, and whether it works for me or not, you know, I appreciate it. Another fight that I would love to see, or I'm going to love to see, is that Stipe versus Cormier 3. They've both slept each other. You know, that third fight is going to be crazy. I don't know what to expect. They've both slept each other. They both TKO'd each other. I think Stipe is going to take this fight because, you know, I don't know, but I just think Stipe is going to take this fight, and I hope he does. You know what I'm saying? I just think Stipe beat him down in the last one compared to, you know, in the first fight, Cormier just caught him with a lucky shot and dropped him immediately. In the second one, Stipe literally made DC give up. DC, you know, had to drop to his knee and take the finish. And that is a different loss than getting knocked out and just caught with a shot, you know. Stipe wiped that shit off his shoulder. He said, I don't give a fuck about that loss. You know, I got slept. It is what it is. And he came in there and he beat the shit out of DC, and he chopped him down, man. So I cannot wait to see that fight. I'm going to be buying it, of course, and might even do like a video after the day after, who knows. But yeah, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you really, you know, what fights do you guys want to see? Like, I always think that to myself, like, what fights seem awesome, you know what I'm saying? So if you guys have any fight suggestions or anything, make sure to leave them in the comments. Get involved with the channel. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. I'm always checking my comments and stuff, so smack that like. Still got a lot of blunt left, boys. It's just how it is when you're talking and smoking. You don't hit that shit too much. So, you know, 16 minutes in and still halfway there. You know, I'm just chilling. I'm not rushing anything. I'm not trying to force anything. It's a beautiful, beautiful night outside. Like, it's probably like 78 degrees, 60% humidity. The moon is super bright. It's making everything shine. And I might go on like a midnight walk or something and like have some conversations just with the atmosphere and see how things go. All right, y'all. I'm probably gonna end this one. I'm getting faded. Might put this out and save it for another day. Hopefully you enjoyed this type of video. I don't know if my normal subscribers that I have right now, yeah, I know you guys enjoy the weed videos, you guys enjoy the life stories, but another thing in my life is UFC. I love UFC, so I'm gonna start giving my, you know, fight picks and talking about UFC stuff because it's fun and that's what I like to do. So without further ado, guys, I'll talk to you guys soon. Make sure to stay high, stay lifted. Peace.